When did we? Last one was Silent Night, Deadly Night,
Last one was Silent Night, Deadly Night,
and
which was
just before
it
Christmas,
was
right?
it was like a good week, 2 weeks before Christmas because I was away from like the 22nd. So that
That's the one.
was that 16th, the weekend of the 16th.
Yes, because I was away as well the following weekend. And do you know what? It's probably our worst viewed episode yet.
Yeah, I mean Christmas in it. I don't tend to look at much. I mean, I'm catching up now with like podcasts and stuff that I listen to, like all their Christmas episodes and stuff.
Yeah,
Obviously, back at work this past week, so that's when I've been.
yeah,
Oh yeah, there's like half a dozen. Well, not half a dozen necessarily, but 3 or 4 episodes of pods I listen to.
yeah. I
think,
fully
oh, yeah.
get it. It doesn't get me down too much. But when you look at, let's say from Halloween, okay, so Halloween 6, 26 downloads, Kill List 20, The Witch 32. Granted, a few of them are from me using the work computer and just leaving the podcast on. Hey, if it drives those numbers up, I'll
Nice.
any computer I can find, I'll load it up anonymously.
One of the lads at work said to me the other day we were driving up to site, and he's like, "Oh, I've listened to a couple of episodes of the podcast," and I was like, "All right, nice one, man. Like, I hope you enjoyed it and stuff." He went, "Got to be honest, feels a little bit like I'm at work." I was like, "Yeah, fair enough. Like, don't worry about it. Cheers for trying."
Yeah, I've had that. People that know you really well, that know your voice,
Yeah.
it's like it's nothing new to them.
No.
It's like they're just hearing you ramble onto them.
Well, that's
about
it.
horror movies, and you won't shut
Which I
up.
generally am in the van with him driving to work. So.
It's got to be fresh people. It's got to be completely random people. The Witch 32, Thanksgiving 29, Bride of Frankenstein 16, Christmas Bloody Christmas 11, and Silent Night 4.
Yeah.
So it's okay. I had fun watching it. I had fun talking to you about it. That's what matters.
Yeah.
You know.
That is what matters. Definitely. Definitely.
And speaking of fun and talking to you about horror films, we need to get back into the swing of things with this little old podcast we do here called the Dreadcast, folks. Welcome back. New
We are back.
New you, new us.
New
all
year.
that jazz.
Hashtag follow me on my journey.
Hashtag 2024. Hashtag horror. I actually use hashtag horror. I have to use it. But yes, welcome back to the Dreadcast. I'm Tom. This is the lovely Aidan. And
Hello.
Today's episode, we need to get into the swing of things very quick.
We do.
Because this is a big episode.
Potentially a long one, isn't it?
Slash with a knife.
Slash.
Part 1 of a part 2. The schedule might change again, but that's
but
fine.
they like to keep you on your toes, you know.
We do, and this gives you extra content because this type of episode I really look forward to because it's not a video essay on one film, shall we say, in it, and this should hopefully this episode drive a lot of different opinions. If we have the same lists, this is gonna suck.
We won't. I don't think we do.
Good. I'm fine with that.
So shall we explain what we're doing? It's a top 10. It's 2 top 10s.
Well, mine's a top 13, but that's fine.
So yes,
that's
you've
fine.
got
That's fine.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's basically a rundown of 2023 horror movies that we have seen and what we thought about them. I think some of them we have done full episodes on, but then we wanted to just sort of try and catch up with some of the other releases that we'd not had a chance to view and review for the main episodes. And yeah, just a little rundown. We've kept our lists separate and secret from each other. So we'll have some and we've watched some different movies. Those sort of filler movies, I think, have been.
We
different.
took the hit on certain movies.
I definitely did take some hits.
Hey, I stopped 2 films.
You did. You just didn't.
So,
just like, you know what? No.
Life's too short for this.
To be quite, I commend you 100% for that because that is fine.
I will say as well,
time.
a preface to what you said is that yes, we are recapping 2023 in horror, but it's not everything. Every single piece of horror media that came out in 2023, it's not that. It's just what we've gotten around to seeing, and we are going to be ranking them, personal opinions, compare, contrast, be opinionated, have a discussion, have a talk, have a chinwag, and we'll see what comes up as numero uno. I think we both know what's number one.
I think we. That's the point where I definitely think we're on the same page.
And I'm happy with that. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I think we'll definitely be on the same page there. Yeah. So as you said, as Tom said, it's not everything, because we're busy men, we're busy guys. We can't, as much as we'd like to sit around and do nothing but watch horror films, we can't. So yeah, we picked ones that we liked the look of and we wanted to see, and we'd not done reviews of. I think you did let me know sort of a brief list of ones that you were watching.
Yeah.
So
it was like a list of ones, like you said, we wanted to check out. We was like, this is I'm curious about this. Not like going through the list of every single release.
Sure.
But
and I tried to be slightly different, because I knew that there was a couple of films that you'd watched that I was like, oh well, I would have watched those, but knowing that you had done, I didn't deliberately. So there may be some crossover, and there's probably going to be a few that only one of us has seen.
Yes.
And it's something that we did independently, and now we're coming together to compare. So yeah, this is going to be. And
also films that the films we have reviewed, cards will be placed here or here, wherever they go on YouTube. So you click these links and you can go check out our full reviews on these films. And the films we haven't reviewed yet, that we'll be talking about today, we'll be discussing them, but they will not be full-length reviews. Otherwise, this will be a 10-hour podcast. Okay, so you've either got reviews that you can go check out, or brief reviews that will be coming in the future. Because I could say there's at least a couple films here that would like to do in the near future.
Oh, definitely. Sure. Definitely.
Some can wait. Some can wait or never be done, depending on how long we do this for. Before we get into it, though, I think there's one piece of news that can fit in with one of your films, so we can leave that. But there's not, I don't think there's been as much news lately. It's Christmas time, mistletoe.
Yeah, nothing. I mean, I must admit, I've not really looked.
No, we can always leave it news to.
Go on. We got a pickup. Oh yes,
yes,
you did. You picked up the Friday the 13th.
Managed to grab it before it stopped being. I don't even know if you can still. I don't think you can still get it on Amazon. I know you can't buy it digitally. You can probably buy it physically though. But yes, Friday the 13th game is no longer available. They have.
That is the last copy.
This is the last ever copy.
That is the last one.
That's why it's still sealed. Still sealed. Yeah, it's a shame, but obviously Gun Studio moving on with Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Which I still haven't played since the beta test.
It's right there, and I still haven't. I want to. New year, new us. We're going to play Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Try and get some gaming in. It's just really, I don't know, like I said, my work situation at the minute is just not enough time to do.
March, we're going to play
it. March,
we're going to play it, folks. You heard it here first. But yeah, so the you can't buy the game anymore. You can buy it physically. I just checked on Amazon. It's not expensive. It's about 20 quid, but the servers will be shutting down at the end of this year. So it's fun. It's still a fun game.
Give it a go. It is a fun game. It is. It's a lot of fun.
And one more thing before we get into today's episode.
Oh, that's very nice.
What are we looking at here for the audio listeners, Aidan?
We are looking at a very small coffin, which...
Not a child's coffin.
Under normal circumstances, my excited squeal there is not the appropriate reaction to seeing a coffin of any size, really, but certainly not that size. But that is a prop for our new... series. So we're coming to the end of our Monsters of Universal. We've got 2 films left, I believe.
I believe we have 2. So
we have 2. We've got the Wolfman next.
Yeah, we're looking at ending the next month or 2.
Yeah. And then after that, we have got. Well, we're calling it what? The Horror Tombola. So
that's really good. I mean, I think it's a working title, but I do.
I mean,
like
it will call. Yeah, it's definitely a working title. That's just how I've been thinking of it.
What's
but
the premise? What's the premise, Aidan? What's the premise?
What's in the box?
What's in the very small
morbid
size
coffin? We have a bunch of categories, vague descriptors of movies. So, werewolves, such and such a word in the title, a whole bunch of different things. And yeah, they've all gone in the box, and we will be drawing from that.
Today.
Reading out today. We'll do it
today.
Today.
Oh, we're doing it today.
Oh, nice.
Gives us more time to watch the films.
It does. I've got some more things to put in it, to be quite honest.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, we will draw a category. We will read out the category, and then Tom and I are going to pick a separate film that fits that descriptor. So, for example, werewolves. Tom picks a werewolf film. I pick a werewolf film, and then we will go ahead, watch. Are we going to watch both of them, right?
We both have to watch each other's film and plus our own, because then we can
compare. Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be very biased. Now,
That's
folks, we sound confused. This has been working for about a month. We're still trying to finesse.
We're ironing out the details.
Ironing out, but we're getting there.
But yeah, so we'll each watch the films that we select, and then when we come to record, we will be doing a compare and contrast of these two films. And I think the other sort of element to mention is that we're not looking at blockbusters. This is
bottom of the barrel.
This is bottom of the barrel.
Bargain
this is
bin.
those Amazon Prime. So I think we said 3-star or less, didn't we?
2, 3
Oh,
is
you're
way
going
too good for this.
2-star. To be quite honest, a lot of
dare
decent
you, sir.
films only end up with a 3-star review.
Oh,
But
Amazon reviews are way
weird.
Yeah, we might have to judge this by the way the poster looks as well.
But I think that's I mean, I think like one of the categories, and I think this is like a good example to sort of describe what we mean. One of the examples is like blatant rip-off.
Yes.
And you've got Paranormal Activity was a huge success.
Yep.
Went on to spawn a bunch of sequels. Big successful film franchise. And that Paranormal Activity sparked like Paranormal Incident or Supernatural Phenomenon. And the poster is like just a rip-off of the successful movie.
Of.
Yeah. So you know the kind of thing. We're talking like Sharknado level of cheese and sleaze. I'm really looking forward to this because
Me too.
This is like my bread and butter. Well, I mean, it's grindhouse exploitation stuff. I think we're both quite passionate about that and fans of. So Tom has used his fantastic prop making skills to knock up a little tombola box. Yeah,
9mm ply from work and just
it's very good.
Bashed out while I was meant to be working a little coffin. Now, a few things as well. Yes, we're doing this advance because we watch films weekly anyway for this podcast. So to add 2 more films, let's get it done now.
Yeah.
More, like you said, more categories and will be added to the box. There's,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's about 20 in here. I think we should pick 2, which makes it even more bit picky.
Okay.
Let's say.
Oh, what to sort of narrow it down?
Yeah.
So it's werewolves with a 1-star review.
Yes, or sharks.
Oh,
in
I like
space.
it. I like it.
Yes,
I like it.
I think we should pick 2.
It might. I mean, I love it. It's a great idea, but we could end up with something like kind of impossible, like clowns. Clowns aliens. No, that's not impossible. But you know what I mean. We might end up with something like set in the hood in space. Like,
Okay. Okay. Well, this week we'll try 2. If we can't find anything in the week, we'll do 1 for next week, and we'll do fresh. We got plenty of time because I said
we can play around with it, and it's our podcast. We can do what we want.
Shut up, all right, everyone. It's our podcast. We can do what we want. My God, stop having a go. What was the other thing I was going to mention? I forget.
We'd have to do like monster setting and some other wild cards, sort of 3 draws to do separate a little bit. Like we've definitely thought about this format before we started announcing it.
I'm definitely not copied Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst series and put a spin on it, where they have a bucket with labels in that they pick out and try and find category. No, this is a completely unique IP. I love you, Red Letter Media. Please don't sue me. So, everyone, be quiet in the back. Can you hear this? Can't hear it. No. Okay, they're rattling around.
Absolutely nothing.
take our word for it. There's things rattling around. All right.
I've seen pictures.
Shall we open the coffin?
Yeah, we can show the.
God, the varnish is really tight on it.
He's done a good job. There we go.
I couldn't find a hinge either, so.
I can confirm for the audio listeners that there are pieces of paper within that small child's coffin.
Hey, it's no, that's animal wise. It's a raven-sized coffin. There we go. That unit of measurement.
No, it's as big as a small dog. There you go. It's something.
I didn't want to go anything domesticated.
I know, but that is something we used to do at work quite a lot. Was use dogs, but then it was like it's as big as a small dog, or it's not as big as a big dog, but it's kind of a medium-sized dog. Because dogs vary in size, so
they do.
You can't actually use a dog as a unit of measurement because you've got to specify how big the dog is.
Sure, pick a film. Pick a category. See, now it's a real shame that we're not sat on couches with our fancy mics looking at each other, where you can pick one.
Do it. I can pick one.
But
you
can pick one. Let me just get that for you. Let me just grab that. The first.
And it says. Go on, read it out. Put it.
We have the first pick.
We have Nightmare in the title.
Nightmare in the title. I think that's going to be a tricky one.
I think it's going to be a tricky one.
All right. Okay, let's say it like this then. Let's add another rule. The first pick is always the one we go for. If the second pick doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
If the second pick doesn't work, we'll go back to the first pick and just go with that.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone. Well done. All right. Oh, no, I've put it back in. All right, well, let's hope we don't get it again. This is going really well. Shaking it, folks. For the audio listeners, I'm shaking
So
it.
There's definitely a chance you're going to pick up the same one again. No, I really hope you do.
For the audio listeners, I'm shaking the raven-sized coffin.
He's shaking the raven.
I'm going to pick a second one out of the tombola of horror. The horror tombola. Here we go. What do we have? Oh, this isn't going to work.
Go on.
All right, pick another one. Massacre in the title.
I mean, I'm just going to do
Nightmare
a quick Google.
Is there a film?
Nightmare Massacre?
I hope there is.
There'll be one film. I mean, there's an amateur B-rated comedy horror short film on YouTube, literally called Nightmare Massacre.
I'm picking a third. I'm picking a redo for the second. All right, Massacre doesn't count.
Okay.
Here we go. Here we go.
What have we got? 80 minutes or less. So Nightmare in the title.
And 80 minutes or less.
Sub 80 minutes.
There we go. I think that's going to be tricky. I
might watch this YouTube that I've just found. That's 6 minutes 26.
That sounds. That falls in the category.
It works. It works for the category.
I generally think, like, when I was thinking about this, like, the words in the title, kill, camp, massacre, I think they're common, but Nightmare might be a tricky one.
That might be a tricky one.
But we'll find out. So, obviously this series won't start until we finish Monsters Universal. So, I'll remind you every week. We'll bring it back up every week just to let you know how it's going. But yes, that is, there you go. There's your new series. It hasn't really got a name yet, but Horror Tombola is good. We'll go with that for now. So we'll see what we get. Stay tuned in the near future for the new series.
You've been dying to make a prop for this podcast, haven't you? That's what it is, really.
That took about a week to make.
I mean, that's not a problem. I'm quite pleased that you have done. But yeah. We need something that I can build something for.
I need the reason to make it. Needed the reason to make a child-sized cop. Anyway,
a raven-sized.
Anyway, we've got some business to take care of. I have 13 films. Technically I have 15. I gave 2 honourable mentions because weren't technically horror, but have horror aspects.
Okay.
Etc. So I have 15, but 13 in the list. You have 10. Okay, 10
I have
for
10.
the list.
Yeah.
So how do we want to do this? Do you want me to just mention my 2 honourable mentions quickly?
Yeah. We'll start with your honourable mentions, and then we'll start with you doing you.
I can bash 13 to 10 out quickly.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then I'll come in at 10. Yeah,
perfect. So the 2 honourable mentions I wanted to put firstly. Godzilla -1 is my film of last year. It's incredible. Yes, I am very biased with Godzilla. I'm a big Godzilla lizard nerd. But this is easily one of the top 3/top 2 Godzilla films of all time.
I mean, I have heard a lot of good. I've not heard anything negative about it. Actually, is a better way of saying it.
I cannot recommend it anymore.
And that not just from you. That's from other sources as well.
It is a stunning film. It is a heart-wrenching film at times. And I wasn't bored once. And it's one of the few Godzilla films where the human aspect is actually interesting and you care about them. You actually care about them.
That's good.
Not nearly, welled up halfway through the film.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's set after World War II in Japan, where morale is. That's why it's called -1. Japan is already at the lowest point, 0. Then this happens, so we are at -1. That's the reason why it's honorable mention, because it does have a horror aspect to it.
I mean, giant monster movies are, they've got a big place in horror. I don't think anybody would disagree with you there.
And after the horrors,
50s sci-fi stuff and
horrors of World War II, after what happened to Japan, you then get attacked by a walking nuclear bomb. I could not mention that. So it didn't go in the list because it's not pure horror, but it has the horror aspect. So go watch Godzilla -1. The other film, I think this might be in your list though, and that's fine. I just didn't. It was Pearl, because it's not. I see X is the better horror film, but Pearl is the better film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that it was a horror film per se.
Okay.
So. And I know that Maxine is going in a different way as well. Like the trilogy incorporates aspects from different parts of a film in a way. Like X is your 70s slasher. Pearl, I don't know what you class it, but it's not the same as X. It's not your 70s, 80s slasher. Maxine has been touted to be more of a Dario Argento, gory, giallo film. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I didn't put Pearl on my list because I just thought it was more of a better film and it didn't have the same horror vibes to me as X did. Yeah. So that's fine. We'll talk about it because I assume it's in your list, so we'll talk about them. So yes, those are the.
It isn't.
Is it? No?
It actually isn't. No.
Oh,
it's a really dull reason why. But
go for it.
I just didn't get around to it. Well, essentially, it came down to the fact that it wasn't available to rent on Amazon. You had to buy it, and I was like, I just didn't want to spend the money. I'll be quite honest. It was like renting it for a couple of quid, fair enough, but it was like 10 quid to purchase it. I'm like, I don't really want to own a random film digitally that I may not enjoy. So yeah, sorry about that. It's a bit of a cop-out reason, but it's like
I can share it with you. I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, digitally. Oh, so you didn't watch it then?
So I didn't watch it.
That's fine.
So
That's cool.
So it's not in my list.
Well, and the technicality with Pearl is that the UK release was 2023, but it was 2022 in America.
Yeah.
It took so long to come over here.
Mm-hmm.
Pearl is fantastic, though. I say it's the better film but X is the better horror film.
Yeah,
It's more of a horror film. So
like I say, there were a few that were like, oh yeah, you know, if I just didn't have time, really, to watch these things, which is a real shame. But you know,
so
I got what I got.
Number 13 is Skinnamarink Dinky Dink.
Okay.
This is the purest of Marmite films, apparently, to the horror fans. You either thought it was the second coming of Jesus in horror, or you didn't get it and just thought this is a load of old tosh. Which category do you think I fell into?
I know which category it fell into for you, because we talked about it.
Couldn't. I turned it off.
Did you finish it?
No.
No, you didn't.
I turned it off after 20 minutes. I understand with horror films sometimes you can get away with the sort of review, the explanation of it's an experience to watch it. And people are using that for Skinnamarink. No, it's an experience. You know, you've got to turn the lights off. You've got to put maybe headphones on or good speakers and just be immersed. And no, I don't. I think that's a cop out. I think that's a cop out for what it is. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's ASMR, it's an ASMR with a grainy slideshow presentation of the interior of a house. And I when I say I'm waiting for something to happen, I don't mean that I'm waiting. Where's my horror? Where's my jump scare? No. Horror films can be built up, tension and drama, and then it happens. That's fine. I don't mind a slow beginning to a horror film. It doesn't always have to be bah, bah, bah. This was nothing. This was absolutely nothing. I know Paranormal Activity is kind of nothing, really. You know, there's a bang. What's that? Oh my god, it's nothing to people. It's not scary. Oh, a door went left and right a little bit.
Yeah.
But this was nothing. And it's a personal opinion, okay? I find
like you say, I think online opinion that I've seen with this one is I know a good friend of mine who watched a lot of horror. She's really big into horror movies. Goes to a lot of festivals, watches a lot of new releases and things like that. She really likes it. She'll champion that it's good, but you know, different strokes for different folks, and it won't do if we all like the same. Exactly. I've still not got around to watching this, and it was one of those I was really interested about in it when it first got announced, when people first started watching it and talking about it, and my interest in it has definitely waned the more time has gone on. I probably will try it at some point. I may have done, if you hadn't have done, I may have done for my list, but because you did, and you basically you told me what you thought ahead of time, I was like,
I think you should do what I did,
but I will at some point.
Watch it for 15 minutes. Watch for 15 minutes. Turn it off because of that. But then think to yourself, once you've done that, which was what I did, how would we do a review on this? Yeah. I could not possibly think how we could do an episode of this film. I really couldn't. I don't understand. But do 15 minutes of it. Fuck it.
I will at some point. The other thing is, I've definitely gone on record and ranted a little bit about how, it's an experience isn't a good basis. I think it was Outwaters. I think I was talking about it, where I was like, you need to have like a film that makes sense and is good to watch. Just
we need a competent film.
Weird crap happening in the dark is not a film. So that is another reason why my interest in Skinnamarink waned significantly, is because I was like, I don't like this modern idea of a sensual experience over actual story. So I'm not going to rush to watch it.
No, I wouldn't. The only note I put for Skinnamarink was no. that's all I wrote. No. So that says it all for me. Okay, number 12. I'm a fan of the franchise, the series. But this one didn't hit it for me, which was VHS 85.
Oh right.
Which has become an annually released series. It seems there is one coming out this year.
Yeah.
They're easy to make, fair enough. But big fan of VHS 1 and 2, the third one, Viral, didn't enjoy as much.
No, I
Then
didn't
I
like that
enjoyed
one too much.
94. I liked 94.
I think I've seen that.
And then 99 was... and then this one was a very middle ground. I like the wraparounds for 1, 2, and 94 a lot better than this wraparound, which was a... wrote it down here. It's like a documentary style film on scientists at a university studying a shape-shifting alien they've called Rory. And after every videotape, it cuts back to these scientists and this alien's changing. And yeah, the thing with VHS films. Now, I think I'm being really picky here. It's called VHS, okay?
Yep.
Were VHSs ever in widescreen? 16:9. Because I don't think they were, because widescreen didn't exist really at the time. For commercial use, anyway. I think they were all 4:3 for the most part. Because this bothers me a lot with the different tapes in the VHS films, when some of them become widescreen. Now, that doesn't bother me too much in VHS 1, 2, and 3, because they're not set in specific time eras. VHS 85, it's set 85.
It's obviously set in it. Yeah.
Some of the tapes end up being widescreen and in really clear, not grainy, not no tracking, and that really bothers me, because why would it be like that? Well, it wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't be clear. It would be grainy, gritty VHS video recording. So yeah, with 85, there was only really 1/2 videos that I liked, and I mean, do you mind? Should have prefaced actually this episode.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of spoilers, I think, for these films that we'll talk about. So spoiler warning. Kind of spoiler warning for VHS 85.
I mean, we've always got a spoiler warning up for
Yeah.
what we do. It's, it's
the
what we do.
The first video, because VHS are videos. They're short films, basically. They're a collection of short films. They're a creep show, if you will. The first video ends abruptly, and it kind of left me thinking, is that it? We then go on to another video. Okay, no relation. We go on to another video. No, we go on to a fourth video, and you start to clock a correlation between the first video, and it links back to it. And that was really surprising. I liked that, but I didn't like going through the rest of the film thinking that was crap. That was pretty. I was disappointed for about 2/3 of the film until this fourth video came up and linked the first story back to it.
Right.
Just to give you a brief synopsis. First video, group of friends in their RV travel to a lake, ignoring warning signs for visitors. They end up going water skiing. One by one, they're picked off by a sniper in the lake. They regain consciousness, head back to their RV to find their other friends at the RV are dead, and see Roman numerals painted on their RV, which is a V11, which is 7, painted in their blood. They deduce, I wrote that, it's a very good word, that because they were in the water, they've come back to life. There's some magical power in the water that can bring them back to life. They choose to go on revenge. But that's where the video ends. They just, and you're like, what? Who was killing them? When you get to this fourth video, it's a home videotape of a family hosting a celebration for their daughter, Ruth. The camera cuts outside. Her young cousin shoots her with a water pistol, and then the camera cuts to an RV driving away. And it's that moment you're like, I recognise that. Hang on a minute. You find out the people in the RV filled up this water pistol with the water. So she's now been shot with this reincarnation. Turns out the celebration is when you turn a certain age, you have to kill 7 people.
Okay.
So they go to go kill 7 people. The police find them at the house. They storm the house. All the family are like, get the guns, get the guns. It's a Waco sort of situation. They shoot everyone. This young girl, Ruth, shoots herself. Comes back to life. Gets arrested. She's fucked. That's their revenge. So, yeah, it's a nice wraparound. I'm not going to explain all the other videotapes. There's a VR one I didn't really like. There's a Mexican God of Death one, like an Aztec God of Death one.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
VHS 85 didn't hit it for me.
I mean, that's the thing with anthologies anyway.
Anthology, that's what it's called.
It's rare that you're gonna like all of them. There's always gonna be a duff one at least. And again, well, it's not really. I suppose it's not. Yeah, you can't really say that the franchise has been running that long because it doesn't matter whether it's under the VHS umbrella title or it's an anthology generally. It's just that I think it's just an inherent problem with anthology films is that if you get weak stories, it's not going to be as good as the ones that are all good. You know what I mean? It all comes down to those individuals, doesn't it? Everyone's
going to have their preference. It's going to be very rare to find everyone that liked every. I mean, even in Creepshow, I'm trying to think back to them all. I don't think I enjoyed every single one.
No,
but that's just how it is.
It is.
So yeah, VHS 75 down there. Number 11. Another film. I stopped after 20 minutes, but I'm gonna finish because I'm curious to see at least where it goes. But I didn't enjoy it. Was Totally Killer on Amazon Prime.
Okay, yeah, this was. I've seen this. I've not watched it. I mean, I've seen it on the thing. I couldn't really work out what it was supposed to be.
It's a slasher. It's a modern / 80s slasher.
Okay, so that seems to be a bit of a trend at the minute, doesn't it? Like a lot of modern films trying to frame themselves as being older, like a lot of sort of throwback sort of stuff.
Thing is, a lot of these films don't introduce a time machine within the first 10 minutes with no explanation. No explanation.
I saw you asking the questions about this on Twitter, and I was like, "What is this? I don't know. What is this?"
Dude, this time machine just came out of nowhere, and I was like,
"I mean,
I'm done." What? So, a young teenage girl, her friend is making a time machine.
I mean, that's what the kids are into nowadays. Time machines, their TikTok and their time machines and their bubble tea.
So
there's a lot of teas.
It's from what I got at the beginning, it's quite a basic premise. 3 girls are killed on their 16th birthday back in the 80s. We then go fast forward to the future where Claire from Modern Family is the mum of the young girl actress who played Sabrina in the new Sabrina show.
Oh yeah,
she's 24 in real life, playing a 16-year-old, whatever. And the Claire from Modern Family, who's playing the mum of this girl, she was one of the friends of the 3 girls that were killed in the 80s, and she's sort of always paranoid about her daughter going out. You know, she's coming of age at 16. She's like a bit worried that she's going to get killed, paranoid, and the killing starts happening again. Claire gets killed, and the young girl, I can't remember her name. Sabrina, we'll call her Sabrina. Sabrina ends up going back in time to the 80s to try and stop the killings from happening so her mum will survive in the future.
Okay.
But the time machine comes out of nowhere. And I was so bothered by this. I just give me a little setup, at least, because it felt...
they'd written themselves into a corner and gone, oh crap, we need a reason why.
Yeah.
Time machine,
that'll do. The mask, have you seen the picture of the mask? It's very plain. Very plain.
Yeah, it's kind of like it looks a little bit like Max Headroom. You remember the old 80s VJ thing, but also like,
I mean, there's headroom in that mask.
A member of it does look like it's like a little kid wearing it. Almost a little bit like one of the members of Bros. Like it's like is it Matt or Luke Goss? It's
yeah, I know what you
mean. Or who else does it kind of look like?
Well, the mask, the mask itself is very clean and like clean cut and basic, and it kind of reminded me of the Valentine mask.
Yeah,
but the Valentine mask had a purpose because it was kind of Cupid on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
This, I mean, I'm hoping that mask gets explained throughout the film, but as of now, it's just a mask. It's one of those things where in the film people are dressing up as the killer as the mask, and they're doing tours of the house where someone was killed. You know, Yeah,
I mean, it's a mask. It's a mask with an earring.
It is, yeah, and
Which
slick
is-
back hair.
is- Kind of different.
It's actually a horror comedy as well, but the comedy doesn't land.
I was
me.
going to ask. That was going to be my
Man,
first question. Was it's described as a horror comedy? How was the comedy?
I
Is it
think
funny?
this might be one of the first or proper cases I realised that this comedy is not for me. This comedy is for the younger folk.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't land for me. I just got finished at Christmas watching Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle's new special. So
Okay.
this
What did you think of Ricky's special?
it was alright. I don't think it was awful. I think he's done better. Dave Chappelle's was great. I'm a big Dave Chappelle fan. Sorry to everyone who's now leaving the podcast, but comedy everyone should be made fun of. Everyone. But no, this comedy didn't work for me. It's not for me.
Fair enough. I mean, again, it's subjective, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
what's scary and what's funny. It is very subjective, and I appreciate that. Excuse me, a 2023 slasher film. I mean, it's just like you say. It's modelled in the style of the old slasher films, which were marketed. It's kind of teenagers, about teenagers for teenagers, isn't it? Really, I'd say.
Yeah.
Slasher movies. So yeah, I get that. A 2023 slasher film is going to be filled with references.
Unless you're directed by Eli Roth and you get a film later on in our picks. So yeah, a young girl goes back in time to basically stop her mother from being killed in the future. But the time machine is what just did it for me. But I will finish it, and I'm sure it's not a bad film. It's a well-produced film. Well, everything about it is fine. It's great. But context, concept, the writing didn't really do it for me right now. So I will finish it at one point. I'm sure.
Fair enough. Funnily enough, the Google recommends all time travel movies as like alternatives.
Yeah.
So the Terminator, Groundhog Day, Looper, 12 Monkeys. Like, it doesn't recommend another horror film. It's all Back to the Future and The Time Machine. It's all just time travel movies.
The Terminator is more of a horror film to this right now. Mm-hmm. So that's totally killer.
I wonder what would happen if they made him a Santa.
Who?
The Terminator.
Made him a
If they made the Terminator a Santa.
What do you mean made him a Oh!
Come on, man. Come on.
Sorry, I forgot about that epic film.
Yes,
All right. Anyway, number... oh, no, that's it. Right, we're up to number 10 now.
Yes, so number 10. And it's my turn to speak.
Yeah, you get to get involved now.
I get a go. And oh boy, do I have something for you.
You took the
So
I know exactly what you're going to say.
yeah. Now I did want to try and watch extra movies so I could purposefully not put this in the top 10 because I didn't enjoy it.
Oh, so you could push it out with extra.
So I could push it out. Yeah. I didn't want honourable mentions. I just wanted this to not have a place. So technically it's number 10.
That's good.
But
I like it.
But really, it's not even charting. Exorcist Believer.
Yeah, you're a good man. You're a good man.
I did. I took one for the.
You took the hit on this
team.
one. Yeah.
I took one for the team. My God, it's just rubbish. I mean,
don't the Avengers of religion come together?
It's so bad. From out of nowhere, it's just. Honestly, right. Okay, so basic like plot is, I think, as most people probably know by now, whether they've watched it or not. Two young girls go missing.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because we're trying to make the original Exorcist but bigger. So it's not one possessed girl, it's two possessed girls.
Oh, my God.
Two young girls. They do the classic, like, I'll tell my parents I'm at my parents I'm at your house, and you tell your parents you're at my house, and we'll actually go off and do something else. So they go off to the woods. They go missing. They're found like 3-4 days later in a barn, like on a farm, like 30 miles away or something, and the not remembering anything. They're checked out, and there's no signs of, apart from that, their feet are a little bit cut up, and they've got a few cuts and bruises. There's no like real signs of any major trauma, but they have no memory of what's gone on. And it's two, like I say, two girls, two friends. There's a single parent and his daughter, and then there's like a sort of 2.4 children, modern, sort of family.
Good show, that. I enjoyed that. 2.4 children.
Yeah, it was a good show.
I'd rather watch that.
I would have rather have watched that as well. And then they slowly start to. Well, they start. No, they don't slowly start. They very quickly start to show signs that there's something not quite right. They get examined by more doctors, and it seems like they jump to possession quite quickly.
Yeah.
But essentially it follows the same beats as the original Exorcist. It's a medical problem. Oh no, it's not a medical problem. Have you considered that it's a spiritual thing and it's possession? But it just goes very, very quickly in this.
Yeah.
So the one of the girls goes into a psychiatric ward. The other they're taken care of at home. We bring back Chris McNeil, Reagan's mother.
Oh, we gotta do that.
She's now the expert. She says very quickly, "I'm not an exorcist. I'm just a mother who went through this, but I have researched all about exorcism in all these cultures." And then the first encounter with one of the possessed girls, she's like, "Get out of him, of her, Satan!" And it's like, hang on a minute, you've said you're not an exorcist. What the hell are you doing?
You mean Chris McNeil, who said at the end of the Exorcist she didn't want anything to do with this. She didn't want Reagan to know about any of this. She wanted to move on, basically. Yeah.
It's just so bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, I will say one positive thing about it. The one positive thing about it is that the makeup effects for the possessed girls, very good, nice.
Yep. Yeah. I've seen the imagery,
they look creepy. There's a lot of obviously influenced. They've taken a lot from like Reagan's possessed look, and it is essentially supposed to be the same demon that's possessing him. Right, negatives. CGI. Lots of like glowing things and smoke. There's one bit where there's like, because there's some random spiritual Christian, I don't know whether it's supposed to be voodoo lady, and she spits something on the fire, and the fire like explodes and smokes, while some sort of demonic vapor is exiting one of the girls. And then it turns into like a Harry Potter movie while these two smoke like things like whirl around and battle each other. And I was just, there's another bit where the crucifix glows red, and there's far too much CGI. It's not necessary. It's rubbish. There's nothing memorable about it. I am struggling to think of specific details. The only sort of quotable moments are when they use quotes from the original lines as like, the little throwback to. It's dull. It's not even good as it certainly shouldn't be an Exorcist movie, because it's like shitting on a legacy. And it's not even entertaining as an Exorcist, as a possession movie generally. There are other possession movies.
There are other possession movies. Yes.
Far better.
Yeah.
It's just crap. It's just crap. I really can't say anything. I was bored watching it. I went in. I tried to go in with an open mind. I really did, and I wanted to sort of try and tried to enjoy it. I did. There were bits of it that I liked, certainly. But yeah,
paid 400 million for this franchise.
Nobody's going to be quoting this in 50 years.
The Exorcist series is not relevant. It has not been relevant for decades. We were lucky with Legion / The Exorcist 3. Was because that could have, you didn't need to put the Exorcist name on it. They could have just called it Legion, and it would have still done. It's a fantastic film. A lot of people, I don't want to come across as like a pompous horror fan, but a lot of people don't really know about Exorcist 3. Exorcist 3 is incredible. I love it. Exorcist 2 shits the bed. It's awful. But we were lucky with Exorcist 3. But other than that, Exorcist series is a one film series.
Yeah,
that's it. That's it. Apparently the TV show was great, but it only lasted one season. So what's the point? Yeah, you just don't call it Exorcist. It's all about trying to make money off the name, which they spent 400 million on. I think this made money back, but not incredible. They wanted to make money back from it being a trilogy, which it's not going to be now anymore because David Gordon Green is out of here.
He's walked out of it, and they reckon they're looking for a replacement, but I think you should just scrap the whole thing. I mean, 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb, 22% Rotten Tomatoes, 39% Metacritic. I mean, I'd say that's being generous. It's just very, like I say, they assemble this sort of Avengers team of Avengers team of exorcists. But it's like the neighbor who's religious and the other neighbor who was going to be a nun, and then like the other family, the pastor of the other
multicultural street, is it?
Church. Well, it's all very like Christian. I mean, even the spiritual lady who is. It's not explained exactly what her sort of belief is. It's sort of vaguely spiritual, like there's a lot of herbs and spitting on the fire, which makes it kind of seem a little bit esoteric and ritualistic. But then she's talking. It may well be voodoo, because I think there's a lot of Christian language, like talking about the blood of the Lamb of God and all this sort of stuff, which is
bollocks. It's just made up. It's just made up stuff.
But it was. But then these people come out of nowhere. They're just all of a sudden they're there, and it's like, oh, this is my other exorcist friend.
Yeah.
Let's do this, and just poor, very very poor. I definitely fell on that grenade for the
you
good
did
of the
you
pot.
did, and I appreciate it. We all do.
Not worth your time.
Well done
Not
to you,
worth
sir. Well done to you. How are we doing this? Are we going to my number 10 now?
Yeah, go on.
That's
Do
it.
your number 10. We'll do 10.
No, I didn't mean to end you. Cap you off. I was just saying how we doing the series.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 10 is Megan.
Okay. Yeah.
Is Megan on your list?
No, this was one again.
Okay.
It was one that because I knew you'd watched it. I thought, right, well, I'm not going to bother. I still want to watch it at some point, and I know my other half's interested in seeing it, but I'm not again.
Our number 10s are the grenades.
It's not what I watched for.
I don't really have much to say about Megan. I've stated in the past, I'm not the biggest fan of your killer doll movie unless it's done well. When we were your first episode on the podcast, Child's Play, when we revisited Child's Play,
I do like a killer doll movie, yeah.
If it's
but
done
only
well,
one killer doll.
Chucky.
Well,
there we go. When we revisited Child's Play, I actually had a renewed appreciation for it. But I always have that thing lingering thought in the back of my mind. It's a doll about 1.5 feet high. Just kick it. Just kick it. Megan's bigger. Megan's the size of a small child.
Uh-huh.
Bigger than that. But I got zero. I mean, horror films take a lot to scare me, but I got zero horror feeling or scariness. I think this was in the American ratings a PG-13, but over here, I would assume this had to have been a 12. It's not gory. There's blood. There's killings. It's not gory. It's not. There's one or two cheap jump scares that are kind of phony jump scares, like a dog will bark at you, but it's not like the killer jumping out.
It was a 15.
Was it?
Yeah.
This could have been a 12. I feel like this could have been a 12. It's pretty basic. Your lead, a young girl is in the car with her parents, addicted to screen time, addicted to her not Furby, not Funzo from The Simpsons. They're in a car accident. The parents are killed. The young girl goes then to live with her aunt, who doesn't give a shit about her because she's so invested in her job, which is creating these not Furbies Funzos for this toy company, basically Hasbro. Problem is, this Hasbro company basically has Boston Dynamics levels of technology.
Right.
And if you're not aware of Boston Dynamics is, you've probably seen these little dog robots or these robots that when you kick and push can pick themselves back up. Billions of dollars of mind-melting brain technology that it's nowhere else in the world. Like these are your iRobot robots that are going to take over
Yeah,
the world.
I mean, it's a spin-off from MIT.
Yeah, yeah.
Boston Dynamics.
And it baffled me that this toy company has this sort of level of technology, and she creates Megan because the young girl who is living with her now aunt, she builds it for her basically. As a companion, because our main lead who created Megan is an awful human being. she's awful as a new guardian. Also, she is the sister of the young girl's mum who died. She shows zero empathy, zero sadness that her sister has just been killed in a car crash. You never see that side of her. She's always about her work. And it's like, oh, I've got to look after this kid now. It takes a long time in the film for her to show some sort of compassion to the young girl who is really the victim of the film.
Yeah.
So she creates Megan. I can't remember what it stands for, but the 3 instead of the E actually is part of the title. I'm just going to find what does Megan stand for. Let's just double check.
I was just
Model Free Generative Android.
Okay.
So the A and N in Android, they couldn't come up with a word for the letter N, so they just got.
Android Nanny, surely that's what it's for.
That's
isn't
good. Yeah, that's good.
So
yeah,
I should work in robotics.
So Megan is programmed to basically be her guardian, her new guardian, her protector, and the AI becomes so advanced that it basically becomes sentient, and any emotional distress towards the young girl, I can't remember her name. Let me. I should probably get the name up. Although you didn't with your Exorcist review,
I couldn't be bothered.
No, I can't be bothered. Let's just get it up. Gemma is the guardian, and Katie, such an American name, is our young girl. She's basically the victim of all this because she's suffering emotional abuse, really not from Gemma, who's not there. Her parents just died. Quite a lot going on for her. So whatever happens to Katie, Megan is there to protect her. But again, becomes sentient and kind of goes off the rails.
And goes too far with it. And you know what this is? Exactly the same plot as the Child's Play reboot that everybody hates.
Is it? Oh, the one where the doll's face is just horrible looking.
That's voiced by Mark Hamill. Yeah. So with the Aubrey Plaza. Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza, yeah.
So it's exactly the same plot. The AI Chucky doll in that isn't possessed by a serial killer. It's basically protecting Andy.
Yeah.
Or assuming the kid's called, I can't remember if the kid's called Andy in that reboot or not. But essentially, it's the same thing. He's protecting him to the nth degree because of his programming, and he doesn't quite understand he goes too far and breaks that Asimov law about not doing harm and stuff. So he's got like it's like getting revenge on the school bully in like the most severe way or whatever. Yeah, it's exactly the same plot as that.
I never checked out that because the way the Chucky doll looks in that film really put me off.
Which I did watch it, and it's not very good. But this is why I didn't rush to see Megan, because I thought, hang on a minute, this is the same plot as the crap Child's Play movie.
There is a point with a cliche that really bothers me in horror films with young, predominantly early teen, late child boys are just psychopathic dickheads, and there's one of them in this who so the setting is Gemma and Katie take Megan along with them to this sort of child's retreat out in the woods where they do activities. That's sort of like a scouts thing, beaver sort of thing like that.
Okay. Yeah.
And all the kids have got their toys, and Megan's there, and this boy takes Megan into the woods, and you're watching it, and you're like, is he?
He's not going to.
No, he's not going to. Before he could possibly, allegedly, maybe do what your brain is possibly, allegedly, maybe thinking. Megan
real doll. I'm just going to say real doll. Is that okay?
Megan grabs him by the ear, rips his ear off, and it's a bit comical because she pulls his ear and it pulls it out about 10 centimeters. And I don't think an ear stretches that far, but he then runs off, and this is where you got the trailer shot of her running like on all fours.
Oh yeah.
But when that shot happens, the ADR sound effect is a horse galloping, and it's so goofy. You hear a it's so goofy.
Coconut shell.
Yeah. From Holy Grail.
Monty Python.
And while he's running off, he falls down a hill and gets hit by a car and dies. And I was really sorry to say, but I was like, yeah. But no, it's not scary. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not scary at all. This film. It did well. It did really well, and there's going to be a sequel, I think, with another doll. Yeah.
I mean, AI is obviously a big talking point at the minute, and people are. It's at the forefront of a lot of people's minds, like what it means to sort of develop and potentially start to rely on artificial intelligence. And yeah, I can see it becoming a bit of a trend again.
I was really disappointed as well with the lead actress, Alison Williams, because she's in Get Out. She's the lead female in Get Out.
Oh right.
Whose family ends up being, the psychos. In this, she's just like zero personality, zero charisma at all, which is a shame. The young girl though, she's good. Who plays Katie, and the girl, I will give it to her. The girl that plays Megan is good because, playing a robot, it's not the easiest acting job in the world, especially for a young child. So I have to give credit where credit's due there. But yeah, the film didn't do it for me, I'm afraid. So yeah, that's our number 10. That is both our number 10. So what you got for number 9, sir?
Number 9. Now, I think it's fair to say my sort of next 3, 4, I could quite easily sort of jockey position. I think I had to put them somewhere. I ended up with the order that they're in, but
okay.
Ask me again tomorrow and it could change. So my number 9 is Saw X.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So the first of which we did a full pod review on.
We did. You can find it right here.
Mm-hmm. I liked it at the time, and I remember, don't have a lot to say, and we're going to keep the ones that we've covered in the previous episodes particularly brief anyway.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was okay.
Yep.
I'm not a huge fan of the franchise anyway, and I did have there were a few negative points about it. I found it difficult to. Essentially, you're being asked to root for Jigsaw as like the hero.
I remember we talked about that.
Yeah, and that's the biggest like negative point of that film is that they suddenly introduce a villain to try and top the
superhero villain.
It's very over the top and very campy, like mustache twirly. Like
it really is.
Comic book villain. Skeletor levels of evil,
it really is.
So yeah, for that, it's not a bad film. I definitely enjoyed bits of it. I think the basic plot, if you haven't listened to our previous episode, which you should,
go check it out.
Jigsaw
he's back.
He's back. It's a prequel, isn't it, of sorts? It's set between
sequel and a prequel.
Second and third movies, or first and second movies. I can't quite remember where. But he has his cancer diagnosis. He's in a support group for cancer patients. He learns that there is is it European or South American? I forget now. They're in Mexico or something? Anyway,
yes, he learns, Mexico. Yeah.
He learns that there's a clinic he can go to that's doing some sort of like experimental treatment which will effectively cure his cancer. There are other people that are claimed to have had this treatment, and off he goes. It essentially becomes apparent that it's a con, and he then sets up a bunch of traps to punish, and he rounds up and captures and kidnaps. All the participants in this con that he's been victim to. He befriends a young boy in there, and I mean, it's got the usual. It's got what you want. I wasn't a huge fan of some of the traps. I felt like they weren't as inventive as perhaps some of them are in other installments.
No, they definitely were not. No.
But you know, it has what you expect from a Saw film. There's good twists in there. There's traps. There's the usual body horror stuff. But yeah, I just found I had a really difficult time just sort of believing that there was somebody. The villain was very sort of silly and felt like something out of a Saturday morning cartoon. And
well, that's the thing. The series is following. Jigsaw is your villain through all of it, really. Villain / hero, however you want to put it, but he's really the antagonist here. He's the villain. You've obviously got villains being in the trap, horrible people being in the traps, but you still kind of root for them rather than Jigsaw because you don't want to see people die. But to just shoehorn in this new B movie superhero villain, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it was asking a lot.
For 10 years, you've been rooting against this guy. And now to suddenly go be on his side, very odd contrast there.
Yeah, and especially as well, I think another important point to make is that we're also shown that he's started his Jigsaw journey at this point as well. He has kidnapped people. This is not his like origin story. And as much as I don't like origin stories generally, it would have worked better had it been the catalyst for him starting to punish people. Yeah, but we are shown that he's already sort of doing his work, and then you know he falls victim to this scam. So he's not the catalyst for anything. He was going to crack on with what he was doing regardless.
And after this, he goes back to normal. After this, he goes back to.
So yeah, it just didn't really land for me, that one. It's decent enough. I enjoyed it at the time, but yeah, if it's going to go somewhere in a top 10 list for me, it's down towards that bottom end. But I would like to point out and just reiterate that that's at number 9, and Exorcist is all the way down here, really.
If you watched other films, they would be between Saw and Exorcist.
Yeah.
Cool. I fully get that. Fully get that point of view. And yes, once again, folks, don't hesitate to go check out our Saw X review. It is here again. I'm going to put it right back here again. So go check it out. It is in my list. It's a little bit further up, but we'll get to that in a bit. So number 9 for me is Infinity Pool.
See, this was one on my list that I didn't get round to. It's not on my list. I mean, I wanted to get round to this one and unfortunately didn't.
This is one I would like us to do because it needs a lot more time to talk about. Because fuck if I know half of what happened.
Yeah,
in this film.
see, I've know virtually nothing about this, but I think this is one that is a bit of a head scratcher for a lot of people, and
yeah,
I don't think it's a traditional story. Is probably a fair way of putting it.
No, I can't talk too much about this if I'm honest about the plot because I don't really know too much about it.
Yeah.
I love Mia Goth. I like Alexander Skarsgård. They're very good performances, especially Mia Goth. Although there's a little bit of controversy going around with her right now that she assaulted someone on the set of Maxine. But we'll wait and see what happens with that. It's a Cronenberg film, son of David Cronenberg, but it still has Cronenberg things happening throughout the film. If you know Cronenberg things, you'll know what I mean by that. It's a story set in a made-up country called Litolka, but it's very Soviet era looking, very grey, very concretey, very wire fences everywhere. It just feels very Soviet. So we're talking could be like in the Balkans, sort of Eastern Europe looking. The premise, the plot, yeah, it's really everywhere. But the gist of it is there's a sort of corporation, I think it's either corporation or the military, that have this power to create clones of you. Mm-hmm. Where you can watch your clone be killed.
Yeah, and people I got the impression
these people
that it was that sort of...
They're jollies off watching them be killed.
Sort of a rich people perverted. They like, I mean, that's a, the super rich must all be deviants and perverts in some way because they've experienced everything they can afford to experience everything. So what's the next? So it's like Hostel, isn't it? Like
yes,
you're
completely.
betting on like fights to the death between innocent people or whatever, and
that's not what I expected this film to be. I hear Infinity Pool. I thought it would be something similar to what I actually just brought up in VHS.
Oh yeah, okay.
There's a pool,
a literal pool.
There's some sort of concoction here that
it's
makes
filled
you
with infinity.
Invincible. Like I don't know. That's what I assumed. But I wanted to go into this film because I like it's just Cronenberg's son. I like I said, Skarsgård and Mia Goth, so that's why I wanted to check it out. But there's not too much I can say about this because I think I may have to do a rewatch.
Yeah,
I was struggling with it. It's a beautiful film. It's very well shot. There were some really good scenes about 2/3 in with some really artistic ways of shooting. I don't even know how to describe it. 20 minutes in, you get a nice noshing off in the forest. Didn't expect that by Mia Goth and Skarsgård.
No,
Yeah, that comes. No,
that.
You weren't expecting me to say it. I wasn't expecting it to see it. So
Fair enough.
this film is wild. This film is wild, and it is horror. But again, we're following into the same pattern as Megan. It's not scary.
Yeah,
it's more trippy. It's more weird. It's more out there. It's more uncanny. It's a bit, what the hell am I watching? What is going on?
Yeah.
So that is the premise about clones of yourself can be created, and you can sort of live your life while this clone, not in a basic clone that doesn't know how to speak. It just stands there. No, it's like an identical. It's you. You can go live your life. You can kill it. You can watch it be killed. But I don't really know how to explain how the film goes on from there because I don't really understand it. Okay. I didn't. For the folks out there, I know it's a shit explanation, but I didn't just want to read off Wikipedia to just tell you what this film's about. Okay, all I will say is this is where it is on my list.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I mean, like you say, it's one that we want to do further down the line. It's one that I want to watch as well.
I think you'd enjoy it.
And it sounds like it needs more than the brief time that we can.
It needs more than 10 minutes to explain.
10 minutes. Yeah. So
I tell you what.
Fair enough.
Let me find a brief explanation of Infinity Pool to do a better job than me. Just to give everyone out there. Okay, so guided by a seductive and mysterious woman, this is Mia Goth. A couple on vacation, a couple being Alexander Skarsgård and his partner. A couple on vacation venture outside the resort grounds to find themselves in a culture filled with violence, hedonism, and untold horror. A tragic accident soon leaves them facing a zero-tolerance policy for crime. Either you'll be executed or you're rich enough to afford it. You can watch yourself die instead.
Right, okay.
Hence the clone thing. So people, like you said, crazy rich people are buying their clones to watch themselves die, and they're getting pleasure of it. Like with Skarsgård, first one, you start to see him at horror watching himself have his throat slit. It's not him, it's him. But over time, you see his face start to enjoy. He starts to perk up and get into this whole culture of mad sex parties. A shunting, shall we say.
Oh, okay.
We have a shunting.
So this company exists so it's a little bit like Mark Morrison when he paid that lookalike to go and do his community service for him, but like a better version of that. So it's clones. That's a really old reference for anybody. 1998. But yeah, do you remember that?
Hey, no, I just had to check. Mark Morrison is Return of the Mac, but I didn't know that story.
Return of that guy. Yeah, he I don't know what the charge was, but he sent a lookalike to go and do his community service because he was on tour.
Incredible.
So yeah, he served his set, so you can have your clone serve out your sentence, unless up to and including.
Can in this
penalty.
film.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 9. Again, we'll get into it in the future. That is, I would recommend it. I would recommend it, but it's also very long, and you need to just.
Yeah. I think it's one of the reasons why I didn't go for it this week ultimately, because I was just I thought it might.
If you're gonna watch it, have time to chill and watch it.
Yeah,
Don't rush
I'll say
through it.
I was I was watching him getting in from work at like 7 o'clock and sticking a movie on. And I was like, I don't think Infinity Pool is one that I can stand after a long day. And
it's a weekend evening film, is what it is. Yeah. Cool.
Sure.
That's number 9 then. Number 8.
So my number 8 is Scream 6.
Okay.
And again, it's similar reasons for we did do a full review on this, and it's similar reasons to what I sort of cited with Saw 10. It's a franchise I'm not a huge fan of. It's the 6th installment of a franchise I'm not that fussed about.
It's the last installment of a franchise.
Okay, we didn't know that at the time, did we?
No.
I think I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I think I may have said we don't really need another Scream sequel, do we? And I liked it enough. It was. I remember being entertained by it. I enjoyed watching it. But yeah, I can't sing its praises too highly because it's another Scream movie. It's me. If you like the franchise, it'll be great for you. If you're not too keen, then it's a slasher film.
Yeah.
It has a different. They go to New York this time. It randomly ends up being a relation to somebody else from a previous film. It's a Scream movie.
They go to New York / Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing that relates to New York in this film.
So they've survived the last murder spree that they were involved in, and they've gone off to college, and they're all very cagey about things happening again, and then lo and behold, something happens again, and there's a killer after them.
Yep.
Dumb popcorn fun.
We don't know who it is. And...
Yeah. No, again, there's not really a lot to say about it. Listen to our review. We can rattle on a little bit more about it, but as a quick recap, it's a Scream film, isn't it? I liked it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah. It needs to be the end. Because I think the main point of this was what we said was that, like, compared to other slashers, Scream is a murder mystery whodunit. Okay, there's only so long. Only so long you can do a film franchise like this where someone else puts on the mask, and it's their cousin. It's their that's been done actually. It's their cousin. It's been done.
Well, that's it. It's the cousin. It's a friend of the cousin. It's somebody copycat. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think they've explored every feasible proper reason as to why somebody should come back, and they are definitely repeating themselves. I think I made Scream 1 is Scream 4 rather is Scream 1. Scream
1 is Scream 5 now.
Yeah,
Scream 1 was the boyfriend,
5,
and Scream 5 was the boyfriend, and
Scream 6 is Scream 2.
Yeah,
it's they go off to college and it happens again. It's the same thing, and spoiler: the killer is a relative of the killer from the previous movie. So they are basically just doing it again now with another cast. So by that reckoning, Scream 7 would be a movie is being made about the plot of Scream 5. Because they are basically just doing the same thing over and over again for a new generation. Didn't hate it. Not a huge Scream fan anyway, so
No, it's similar to Saw for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So it is where it is. Like I said, I think I could switch around these entries. I put it above Saw because I really had trouble rooting for Jigsaw as a good guy. So yeah, that's I don't know. Can't really say much more about that one.
No, that's fine. Like I said, we've said it all in our review, and again, go check it out here. But I was just looking back to my top 10 from last year, 2022. I had Scream 5 as my second favourite film, and I really liked Scream 5 because it felt like a really good breath of fresh air in the series. We moved on to our new protagonists with Tara and
I don't know.
Melissa. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now. But it just felt a bit fresh. Even though we had our legacy characters, it felt fresh. And I liked the killer's motive. Granted, it was the boyfriend, but they were trying to
But it was a fanboy thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a
Serial
fanboy
killer.
thing. Yeah, they were obsessed with it, and I liked it. It was something different, but it was still the boyfriend. But yeah, Scream 6 really did not deliver as well as Scream 5 did, and by the looks of it, I saw a Twitter post that was a really good troll post yesterday, basically stating that report David Gordon Green has been signed on for Scream 7. Now he's left. God no, leave it alone.
Oh,
get him away from it.
I mean, it's one of them. They made a big deal about it being in New York, and ultimately it didn't really matter. Like, it wasn't really relevant where it was.
No, it barely focused at all on it being in New York.
Yeah, apart from there being a scene on the subway, I think that was and one in a bodega. I think that was kind of it.
Yeah,
that was the only sort of nod to the fact that it was set in New York.
I think we both agreed the subway scene was probably our favourite.
I think it was. I mean, it was a good scene.
Yeah,
it was. Again, there was a lot of that I liked about it, but if it's got to go somewhere in the list, then that's where it's going. There's things I liked better.
Number 8 for me is Saw X. Saw 10.
Okay.
Just a little bit higher than you, but I think I'm more of a fan of the franchise than yourself.
Yeah,
so I liked having another installment. I think the best way to describe this film is it's the best looking Saw film, but it's one of the most mid-tier Saw films. It's like the best well-produced Saw films. Like, it's actually it doesn't look like a TV drama.
Yeah,
but I like that the other films in the series kind of feel like a TV drama where plot A goes over here, but then it's linked back to here, then it's linked back to there. I like that there's so many links. It's quite well written, but visually they look like TV. They kind of look like TV films. Production on this is the higher quality than the other ones. But yeah, everything you said, the villain, the traps are not as good. How we're meant to be supporting Jigsaw, it didn't land as well. No. So
not so late in the franchise. I mean, maybe if they brought this one out sooner, fair enough. But
it's just unnecessary. It was a really unnecessary film, really. I know they tried to go in a different way with Spiral and then the film Jigsaw, which. Yeah, but and apparently we've got Saw 11 coming out this year, which where is that going to fit in? You do not need to fill every gap in every cinematic universe.
No,
I mean, where does this fit in? It's probably going to be Hoffman's now story, which has already been done. How he became Jigsaw's whatever. So big fan of the franchise, but this did and didn't hit for me, so it's just there. It's in the middle. Take it or leave it. Again, check out the review. I'm going to keep putting the cards here. Go check them out. We've talked at length about it. You just talked at length pretty much. I don't need to repeat your words as much.
No.
So that's my number 8. So we've both got Saw out the way.
Yeah.
We're close. No, I'll leave it that. We're close to getting Scream out the way. So this is interesting because we're not getting the same films, the same numbers, but we're getting similar, they're one or two above or below.
Ends of the table.
Interesting.